Hello everybody, I'm Bill Owen from MMPCTech.com. It's been a while. How you doing? Well, today I've got something new. I'm finally doing a case review again. And this is the new Legacy W1 Mini-ITX case by Rosewill. It's available in two finishes, black or silver brushed aluminum. And I have the non-window version, which instead of a window has a ventilated side access panel. The Legacy W1 is sold exclusively by Newegg.com for $119.99, and it's in stock now, and they should be adding the window version to their inventory very soon. The overall dimensions measure in at 9.5 inches wide by 14.25 inches long, with a standing height of 14 inches. So the W1 is a bit larger than the 19-liter designation given to ITX cases, but it's smaller than most mid-tower cases and gives you the option to fit a video card up to 320 millimeters long or 12.5 inches, so you can install an R9 295 or a Titan Z, and you can feed it the power it craves by putting a full-size ATX power supply in the lower chamber of the Legacy W1. And you've also got the space to put the most big badass power supply you can find, like an EVGA Supernova 1500. Now, would you actually install a 1,000 watt or larger power supply in a Mini-ITX PC? You know, I actually know some people that would. But nonetheless, options are nice. As you can see, the overall design is very minimalistic, but these camera angles make it look 2001 monolithic. That's a huge tower, Bill. Actually, no, it's only 14 inches tall. Now, features, it has a optional front optical drive for a slimline, as in laptop drive, and it has an optical drive slot. No, wait, it has some IOs on the side for headphone and mic jack to USB 3.0, and the buttons are actually attached to the side panel, so there's no wires to deal with when removing the panel. And there's real nice thick rubber feet on the bottom that help dampen vibration and prevent getting scratches on your desktop or your media center shelf. While we're looking at the bottom of the W1, you can see the mounting location for two SSDs on the floor of the chassis, and the power supply has a easily removable filter screen. And you may be looking at the front thinking, how does it draw and cool air? Well, don't let its plain Jane design fool you. There's actually a massive gap at the bottom of the front bezel to draw in cool air to the included 140 millimeter intake fan in the front. And since we're talking about the cooling of the Legacy W1, the top panel is perforated from front to back and gives you the option to mount two 120 millimeter or two 140 millimeter fans with or without a 240 or 280 size radiator. Taking a closer look at the back side of the Legacy W1, as I noted earlier, it takes a full-size ATX power supply, and you can use just about the longest power supply you can find on the market in ATX size. There's two PCI slots for the Mini-ITX board, inlet and outlet for optional liquid cooling. The rear fan is a 140 millimeter fan with a nice steel perforated grill, and there's the option to move to a 120 size if, for example, you're going to run a Corsair H80 all-in-one cooler or similar. There's also a nifty 3-speed fan switch for both front and rear fans. While I was working on this review, I had the case on my workbench, and all of the local mod monkeys and customers that came in were really impressed with how easily all the side panels came off of these pressure fit style pins. It's really a great design that I wish more manufacturers would do. It makes it convenient, and it holds on really well. I'd first seen Leanne Lee doing this. What I like about the Rosewill is that the pegs are much bigger than the ones Lee & Lee use. Theirs actually had seen break, where these are pretty rock solid. So I really like this design of being able to quickly remove a side panel or the front bezel. It's just really a great design. Rosewill also made a nice addition by having a foamed back adhesive strip alongside the chassis rails, so when you pop the panels back on, you're not going to scratch the finish on the back side of them. For 3.5-inch data storage, the Legacy W1 holds 4 3.5-inch size hard drives in its removable hard drive cage. It's a simple and effective toolless design. There's actually red anodized aluminum brackets with grommets in the accessory box, so you can simply just push the hard drive in or pull it out with ease. Here's a closer look at the PCB board for the side panel IOs, which is really a great design because there's no wires or cables to deal with whenever you remove the side panel. Just grabbing my ruler to illustrate again that you can fit high-performance GPUs up to 320 millimeters long or 12.5 inches. I've brought the Legacy W1 over to my workbench and removed all of the exterior panels so I can share an overview of what's involved in installing a 240 or a 280 size radiator in the ceiling of this Mini-ITX case. What I'm going to do here is an overview on installing a radiator in the top of the Legacy W1, and it will fit either a 240 or 280 size radiator. Now out of the box, it's going to have this mounting plate here screwed onto the hard drive cage, and this is for mounting an optional slimline optical drive, also known as a laptop drive. That will go right here. And you also need a slot load style drive because there's just a slot in the bezel of the W1. There's 3 mounting points, 2 folded brackets here, and then this large one here. These are about 1/4 inch tall, and this one's about 3/4 inches tall right here. Now, in order to mount a radiator, you mount it on the ceiling, the top panel of the W1, which I've done here already. I've got a Hardware Labs Black Ice Stealth GT240. This is 29.6 millimeter thick radiator with 2 25 millimeter fans, and it's just mounted to the ceiling of the top panel. And the top panel has these push pressure pins. All the side panels have this style of mounting, which is really nice. Now, along with the case, you're going to get what they call a flat converter plate, and this replaces this plate so there isn't anything sticking up and protruding that will hit your fan blades. And there is 7 screws that hold in this plate for mounting the slimline drive. It's 4 on top and 3 in the front. What I like about this case is that it's really got the enthusiast in mind, the enthusiast gamer, enthusiast overclocker. It will fit video cards up to 12.5 inches long or 320 millimeters long, and full-size ATX power supply, even one of the behemoths like the EVGA Supernova, which is insane at 1500 watts. So this plate comes out, then you swap it to the flat converter plate. And then we're not going to bother screwing that back in, but that would go right there. And just out of curiosity, if anybody's wondering, once you have this plate installed, you have, let's see, you have exactly 58 millimeters of space, 58 millimeter gap between this top panel and the ceiling of the case, so keep that in mind. Your Corsair H100 radiators are 27 millimeters thick. And again, this Black Ice Stealth is 29.6 millimeters. So basically a slimline radiator. Let's see, just out of curiosity, how thick. With the button head screws, which are an M4 thread, we're right at 56 millimeters. So just a few millimeters short. But now, with the flat converter plate installed, there you go. Radiators installed in the ceiling. And that top panel, that flat converter plate that I put in there, that does have ventilation openings in it, so that fan isn't going to starve from getting any type of airflow right there. Now what's cool is you can actually put a 280 size radiator, see? It'll take either dual 140 exhaust fans in the top, or you can put a 280 size radiator. Again, a slim one if you're going to have hard drives in the cage, because if you want to go with a thicker radiator, you can remove the entire hard drive assembly. There's screws on the floor, so you can take this out and have enough room for a push-pull configuration on your radiator, whether it be a 240 or a 280, like one of the thicker models out there. So I like the fact that they really thought of that, and they give you the options, not just so you're stuck with what's from the factory or having to drill out pop rivets. Now that we've taken a tour of the case, let's see what's in the included accessory box. I mentioned these red anodized aluminum brackets earlier in regards to the toolless hard drive cage. I like seeing something like this. Not often do you see a company have a color-coded part like this. That was a nice touch by Rosewill. Also included are the screws for hard drives and actually there's a BIOS speaker, which I haven't seen in ages, but a nice little bonus to see. Actually, I talked to somebody the other day that was looking for one, so they could probably use this. And there's the rubber grommets for the hard drives. And then there's the screws for mounting power supply, fans, and the motherboard standoffs. There's also screws for 2.5-inch SSDs, a bunch of cable management wires, and some gaskets for screws, and some fan screws. And the owner's manual is clearly laid out with plenty of diagrams. I actually had to refer to it in regards to that flat converter plate for the slimline optical drive. When I first opened up the case and I saw that, I was like, what is this for? So I'm glad that I took the time to see. And actually, it was pretty smart on their part to have made two plates and just keep the other one flat so you have that room for putting your radiator in the top panel. Okay, my final thoughts on the Rosewill Legacy 1 Mini-ITX case. Actually, I think I'm going to give it a rating, and then you know I never do ratings on cases. From 1 to 10, I'm going to give it a 9 because there's no such thing as a perfect 10 case yet. My only little... that's not a nag, really, is in regards to the optical drive bay. And I know a lot of people don't use optical drives anymore. And I'm catching myself never needing. But once in a while I run into people that actually still like them. And if you're going to put an optical drive bay in a case, you might as well make it fit 5 1/4 drives, because the price on Blu-ray 5 1/4 drives is so good. And I know that there's slim line optical drives out there too, but you just don't get as wide a selection, and they're much more expensive. And in my personal opinion, my personal experience with slim line optical drives is that they just don't last as long as the big old 5 1/4 ones. That's just my personal opinion on it, and that's my only nag about this case. That's not really a nag, but if you're going to go through the efforts, just, allow 5 1/4 one. So otherwise, I love this thing. I love it. I'm being perfectly honest too. I think that a lot of people are going to like it. I want to mod it. It's a blank canvas to me. And I know that not all of you are case modders, but when I look at this thing, it's like I start getting ideas. So, anyways, everybody, thanks for watching, and thank you to Rosewill for sending the sample. And we're going to have some more videos up soon. Please subscribe if you don't already, and I'll see you soon.